Hey, it's Cody. Today I'm here to share with you the decks and books that I plan on working with in the month of October. This is my second time recording this video. I'm also sitting on my floor because the sunlight was pissing me off. I recorded this whole thing and then watched it back and I was like, what the fuck am I talking about? So I feel like maybe I should... I'm gonna have to give you a little context here. I regularly take a medication for some like mental health kind of stuff. And every few years I will be like, you know what? It almost feels like it's a dampening of my thought processes and also my feelings, because like if you don't feel depressed, like that's why I'm taking it, but also I don't feel anything else either. And so every once in a while I'm like, you know what? I think that we'll go without it for a little while. So I'm actually been feeling a lot better lately without it. I'm not by any means advocating do this. Okay, this is my own bad decision that I'm making for myself. All right, but so I have been happy crying at a lot of shit. Like, because I haven't actually been able to feel joy as well as sadness for a long time. Like I haven't pulled this let's stop taking my medication for a couple years now. So also there's kind of an adjustment period there though. So if this isn't like the regular the more expected type of month ahead video that I usually put out, I'm gonna tell you right now that's why. So sorry about that. I don't recommend that you do that. I'm just letting you know that I have done it. And if I get on weird tangents, I would like to apologize in advance. This is probably gonna be like a 6-hour video just because I can't stop, like, okay. Anyway, let's do books. So this is The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. This book, I have waited years. Okay, I don't know if it's been actually years I've been waiting. This is the first book in a new trilogy that happened 7 years after the events of A Conjuring of Light, which was a trilogy, the Shades of Magic trilogy. So it was A Darker Shade of Magic, A Gathering of Shadows, and A Conjuring of Light. And that kind of wrapped up about 7 years ago. And then V.E. Schwab started writing another trilogy that happens later. I wouldn't call it a spin-off. It's got all the same characters and stuff in it. And I was kind of nervous for this book to come out because it has happened to me before where I've read and loved a series and then there's like a spin-off or something like that. An author comes back years later to, mess with these characters again, and it's awful. So I was nervous about this book. But it turns out I didn't need to be. I have a lot of thoughts about this book. Like, I'll keep them to myself because we'll be here forever. And I do have to say that I fucking hate this cover. It's just because I hate, like, really colorful colors. So, but I do like this. This is very cool. I'm assuming that's supposed to be an owl skull based on the book. Anyway, I did finish this in like a day and a half, and I fucking love it. The next book is one that I have begun, but I've not gotten as far as I had hoped. This is The Book of Shadows by Phyllis Curott. So this is sort of like an autobiography. I mean, not necessarily, I don't know. It's talking about her introduction to magic and how she kind of got into it and stuff. This is a 20th anniversary edition, and to be completely honest, I had no idea that this book even existed, until a good friend of mine, sent me this and was like, there's some really good stuff in here, as long as you ignore, like, the Wicca specific kind of stuff, which I'm perfectly fine ignoring Wicca specific stuff at all times. So I am very excited to read this book. I've started, and sometimes I think to myself that a book will probably be easy to read, and so it'll be like my travel book. So if I like go somewhere and I have to like wait in the car or like a waiting room or something like that, I take it with me. This is actually not like that. It's not that it's difficult to read, but there's something different, I think, about fiction versus nonfiction. If I'm reading a fiction book, I feel like I get way more, like, into it and forget that the world around me exists, which can make for weird bullshit in public, and also really pisses me off when I get interrupted. Whereas, like, nonfiction, I tend to be able to put it down and pick it right back up easier. You know what I mean? Like, the scene, there hasn't had to be, like, a scene set and everything the way for nonfiction than there is for fiction. Well, this book actually is kind of reading a lot more like fiction in that regard for me. So getting interrupted from reading this book actually really pisses me off. People won't shut the fuck up. And yeah, this is going to have to start being a home book, because this is not the kind of thing that I can just take out and read a couple sentences of in between, like, bullshit in public, if that makes any sense. Alright, I believe I showed this book on a video before, but it wasn't like a month ahead thing. This is The Night and Its Moon by Piper CJ. This is the first book in a series. Like, it's a chunk. Someone recommended this to me. I'm a little bit nervous because it's something about fairies, and I am super picky about fairies and the fiction that I will read about them in. I have not started this yet. The last one, I actually don't have yet, but I did get you a visual. You can just use your imagination. This book that I have right here, this is the Book of Seances by Claire Goodchild from Black in the Moon. She actually has another book, and it's, oh my god, I don't remember exactly the title. Something, instead of seances, we're talking about ancestors and ancestor work. And the book basically looks like this, but it's black instead of being like this parchment color. It doesn't come out until later in this month. So I'm really excited for that to show up. That is going to be the kind of book where I'm just going to, like, put other shit to the side so that I can go ahead and read that, because I am fucking excited. Alright, that's it for books. I mean, okay, not quite it for books. The other thing is, I've really been in, like, a journal mood lately. Not necessarily writing in them, but in, like, amassing them. Also, I've learned about myself that I literally cannot write in nice journals. Like, if I feel like it's good or nice, nothing that I write is good enough to go in it. I don't know. You know, other people do the same shit. So these two kind of cute journals both came from Dollar General. So these ones I don't have a problem writing in. Even though I think they're cute. Like, I honestly wish that these did not have these, like, words on them. There's really no need for that, but there were those. And this other one that I got. Denick. I got this one from Barnes & Noble. And I'm probably going to have trouble figuring out what to put in this, because, like, okay, this is gonna sound so stupid. Sometimes I imagine, like, if you're, like, children in, like, a book or a TV show, and they find some really cool, like, journal, and they open it up, like, it's gotta be something good in there, you know what I mean? It can't just be the stupidest, most mundane bullshit, so, alright. Anyway. Alright, now we are on to decks. Okay, so I kind of have three types of decks that I gravitate toward during the month of October. The first kind are ones that are sort of Halloween specific, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, they're just kind of spooky, kind of kitschy, maybe. The first one of these that I'm going to be working with this month is the Oracle Halloween. This is by Tess Moody. Now, this I found on Etsy last year, but by the time I found it, it was actually past Halloween and Samhain time, so this is really the first time I'm going to have it in my collection at the right time of year. I also ordered another deck by her at the same time. It's very cool. I think I showed it in a spring one. I don't remember exactly, but... Alright, let's take a look. Come out, please. The guidebook is very, just, like, I don't know, well-informed, maybe? Like, it's not some just little keyword thing or something. I don't know. Alright, so here we have the cards. We've got, like, the title of the card, sort of. We've got, like, a little sentence or two, or maybe even just a couple words on some of them about what the card means. I think this deck is so cool. It's really well thought out. Like, you know how sometimes decks come out around Samhain and Halloween and they're just almost kind of gimmicky, trying to just, you know, ride the coattails of like the holiday coming up. This deck really is not like that. Like, honestly, you could use this anytime. The card meanings are good. There's like depth to them. And just I'm really impressed with this deck. I also, the artwork reminds me sort of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Now, I know that there's like, God, there's a tarot deck out there that's specifically trying to emulate the style of that artwork. I can't remember what it's called right now, but that's not what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not interested really in that. Just the idea that this, I think, maybe accidentally feels similar. I don't know. But I'm excited to use this deck, to finally have it when is like the right time to really, you know, be using this. So I will put a link to the shop where I got this deck in the description box so that you too can get yourself a copy of this. Oops. Yeah, I had ordered this deck and another one. Oh, shit. Forest Oracle or something like that. That's pretty cute and very similar in like a good guidebook, nice cardstock, well thought out. Honestly, I think she should be charging more for these, I'll be completely honest. Alright, the other one I have in the like more Halloween-y category. Okay, I kind of feel bad like relegating this one to that, but this is the Bloody Tears Tarot. Okay, this artwork is by Mitro Rizhak? You know, I don't know how to say that. So I ordered this deck from Ukraine, and it is so fucking cool. Like, it was before all of the things that have happened to them recently. I was just kind of cruising on Etsy looking for shit, and a lot of times when I do that, I find fantastic things. So the cool thing about this deck... Alright, first of all, I do want to say that this deck it's vampires, but it's specifically Bram Stoker's Dracula. So if you look in here, you've got specific characters. It has been at least 15 years since I last read Dracula. So I really definitely do need to give that a reread. I don't know when it's going to be, but it is specific. The artwork I want to talk about is so fucking cool because this is all done with ballpoint pens. Red, black, and blue, and that's it. Like, that is so fucking cool. And, okay, so when I said that this was, like, Dracula specific, I don't want anyone to feel like they can't have it because they haven't read Dracula, or like that you don't want to read Dracula or anything. This is pretty Rider-Waite-Smith based. It's an easy reader. You know, you're not going to look at it and be like, I don't know what that means, if you've already been reading a Rider-Waite-Smith style deck. I'm stuck together here. I'm kind of surprised that I don't see more people talking about this deck because I think it's just so cool. I'm so impressed by the artwork. Like, and it reads so easy. Honestly, like, I feel like this would be such a good deck if you were doing, like, reading someplace, you know, around Samhain, and you just bust out this Dracula deck, and people looking at it wouldn't need to know, you know, if it was specific to Dracula. It actually just called the Bloody Tears Tarot, so it's not... I don't know. This stays close enough to Rider-Waite-Smith stuff that I think this would be easy to just sit and sling cards, read people's shit, they would be all impressed, and be like, gasp, where is this deck from? This is so cool. It's like one that not everyone has. I don't know. I think that this would be cool. If I didn't know very much about tarot and I went somewhere and someone like did me a reading with this, I would be so impressed. It did not come with red edges, by the way. I colored those. with like a red alcohol marker. I mean, it did bleed a little bit, but it's nothing major. All right, get back in there. Okay, the next like genre of decks that I tend to pull out in October has more to do with like the inner work stuff that I start fucking with around this time of year. So, the first one of those I want to talk about is the Somnia Tarot by Nicholas Bruno. Again, I will put a link. Any independent decks that I show, I will definitely put a link to. So I will also put a link to the Bloody Tears Tarot in the description box if I didn't already mention that. All right, here we have the Somnia Tarot. This was actually a Mother's Day gift because that's just how I am. That's what I asked for and very specifically helped my children to assisted them in getting to the right page and place for. This deck, some people say it's creepy, or people say it's like repetitive because the people have the cloth over their face and shit. I don't care. I love this deck. I feel like I'm into the nuance of it. I don't feel like it's repetitive or that it looks the same. Like, creepy, maybe. Here's the thing. Now, if the creator of this deck, Nicholas Bruno, heard me say this, he might shit himself to hear, but it... Did you guys watch the, is it a Netflix adaptation of a series of unfortunate events? Like, the Lemony Snicket vibes rolling out of this thing. Kind of... I thought this deck would be more serious, but something about Lemony Snicket has absorbed into this for me, and it has a feeling... It has a feeling similar to me that what I get from, like, The Deviant Moon, right, by Patrick Valenza. It's disturbing, but something about it almost feels tongue-in-cheek. Like, this is such a sad card, but some part of me is like, looking at it. Again, I'm unmedicated and I apologize. Like, I just think the wateriness of it is super interesting. I don't know, man. I'm so into this deck. Like, I'm even into, like, just looking at the artwork. And I'm very excited to start using this for what I really kind of got it for. This also gives me a little bit Mr. Bean vibes, which kind of pisses me off. Like, this one is so cool. Look at this. How did you get a horse to, like, be okay with all this? I don't know. I feel like I've known horses that'd fucking kick my head off if I tried to, like, put fabric on them, but... Behind their backs here in the Lover's card, we have a pomegranate and scissors. You know, I think there's like, is there a larger guidebook you can buy with this deck? Because I need to get that, that's what. Anyway, I'm just looking at the pictures here, and I need to recall that I'm actually making a video, and nobody wants to look at all this. I like this card. Anyway. So this will be some inner work, but you know what? Now that I feel like I have attached weird associations to it, it's possible it's not going to work exactly like I had been hoping it was going to for me. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, the other deck, okay, inner work. This is going to seem like a weird deck for inner work. This is the Cerise Tarot. And I actually do not have any information on me right now. I should have looked this up beforehand, but I didn't. I got this from Make Playing Cards. And so I don't have, like, the artist name and stuff. I will find it and link it in the description box below. I think that just the color palette of this deck is perfection for this time of year. Also, I don't really see people talk about this deck either. I'm not, like, I don't feel like this is such a weird, like, niche sort of deck that it shouldn't get more love than it gets. This one is kind of, okay. My 3 types of decks that I work with for October. We've got like the spooky, Halloween, Samhain stuff. We've got like inner work kind of stuff. And then the other one is ultimately just what is the weather doing around me? Like that, I think, informs a huge amount of my practice. And this one is kind of a combination of, what is nature doing around me? What's it looking like? How's it feeling? And also some inner work. I think I did a flip through of this when my channel was newer. If you want to see all the cards, at some point I need to go back and, because like a lot of times I just did like almost a walkthrough maybe, or like unboxings and things, and sometimes some of these decks you don't see very often. I feel like I probably should go back and do reviews since I've been working with them, what I think works, what I think doesn't, because like an unboxing is not a review, right? Like I don't want to hear what somebody thinks about a deck, about working with a deck when they're literally seeing it for the first time. Like, I don't think that that's a thing that can happen. So, yeah. I'm excited about this deck. I love it. I've had this for a while. But, like, some part of it just feels really, like, I don't know, picky or something. Like, when it's ready to talk to me, it will. And if I'm asking it shit, when the time is not right, then it's just going to ignore me. So, get that in there. Make playing cards. Decks don't always come with a box. And to save myself like $10 or whatever, I just got it in like plastic wrap. You know what I'm talking about. All right, here is the Crow Tarot, the Pocket Edition. This is by MJ Cullinane. This is mass market. You can find it all over the place. So, all right, this is actually my first version of the Crow Tarot at all. Like, I don't really know what has been holding me back from it for years. Like, I have other decks by MJ Cullinane. I have the Forhoxa. I have Guardians of the Night, I think it's called. I feel like I have another one, but I can't remember what it is. But I watched her making I think it was the Oracle or the Tarot. I don't remember. She made the cards on Instagram, and I like watched the process of that. I don't remember if there was a Kickstarter or like pre-orders or what exactly it was. And I was like, hell yeah, look at this deck. It's super cool. But then something kept making me not get it. And then when I saw that it got picked up by, Hay House? Is it Hay House? Fuck, who has this? I don't actually know. Anyway, it got picked up by a mass market company. So I was like, oh, well, now I can get it. It's going to be like, it'll be a lot more affordable for me at some point. I'll pick this deck up. And then also, I did not do that either. I don't really know what was preventing me from this. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't like the border color. Like, I don't like white or like cream. So maybe it's something to do with that. I don't know. But then finally when I watched somebody's video where they were talking about this deck, and then like I hopped on the internet and I was like, maybe I need to look at this deck. And I saw that a pocket version had just recently come out. I'm like, oh shit. That I have to have it if it's a pocket edition. This devil is magnificent. Okay, the devil's looking at me to tell... Okay. I'm going to regret this later, but I'm going to show you my most embarrassing thing that I'm doing right now. Okay. So, not only am I going to be using this deck, like, regularly... You can see it's kind of in order. That's because when I was filming the last one of these, I dropped the deck, and like it was in order because I'm doing something with it, and then the cards barfed everywhere. It fucking bent the corner of the Hanged Man, so now I'll always know where that card is. And like, fuck's sake, that's where I finally cut the video. I was like, I can't deal with this. All right, anyway, I've been going back and forth on whether I'm going to admit that I'm doing this or not. But you know what? If I tell you myself, then no one can make fun of me. You're gonna find out that my unmedicated self is really, really fucking annoying. So you know how the new Hosier album, Unreal Unearthed, came out what, it was in August, I think. Well, I'm still on that. In fact, I'm still on it so hard. Like, my husband's like, please stop. And I won't. So, you ever listening to a song and like, you're like, damn, that reminds me of like this tarot card? Some part of my brain's always like doing tarot. I don't know how else to explain that. And so, let's just say the Hosier lyrics, I'm telling you right now, there's one for every fucking card. Okay? And so I'm not gonna show you, but I have a page for every card, so like Hosier lyrics that I feel like go perfect with the card. I've been writing in here, okay? Don't never speak of this again. Put that away. Fuck you, devil, for making me admit that, like, in public. Alright, I still have 3 more decks. I guess we'll look at this one next. I'm trying not to talk that much, but this video is already, it's gonna be like half an hour at least. Okay. This is the Memento Mori Oracle by Claire Goodchild of Black and the Moon. This deck was specifically made for, like, spirit communication, and that's what I use it for. And this is one of those decks, it has, like, its own little box. I could have gotten it and brought it down here, but I didn't, and I'm not getting up off the floor to get it right now. But it never gets put away. Like, sometimes spirit communication is necessary for me at any time of the year, but especially around now, you know, it seems to kind of kick up a little bit, so. I do not have a curated deck. This is the original, like, the base deck of it, as well as all of the, what are they called? Like, little expansion packs, the Patreon cards. I mean, okay, there are 2 expansion packs. There's, like, timing and ancestors and advisors. I don't have those mixed in. I would pull those out and use them separately. Because I don't feel like it would work to just be, you know, drawing cards and all of a sudden just get some of those random ones. They're, you know, they kind of have a little more specific usage. Anyway, I love this deck. I plan on probably busting this out when Claire Goodchild's Book of Ancestors comes out later this month. I'm sure there's going to be, you know, stuff that I can do surrounding that work with this deck. So, yeah. This deck is always out for me, but it's like more out right now, if that makes any sense. Alright. Also, the Madame Lydia Wilhelmina's Tarot of the Macabre, Monsters, the Macabre, and Autumn Scenes, or something like that. It's got a really long name, and I don't have the box for it right now with me. This deck is independently produced. I will put a link to this deck in the description box. It is... Let me put it on top of that. This deck goes in and out of print. So, it's... Sometimes you see these going for ridiculous amounts of money. All it takes is patience. Don't spend $500 on this, okay? Because there's just really no reason. I love the little touches of, like, creepiness. Like, this is going on, but then you see she's got the mask, which is already kind of like, well, what are you hiding? And then you get up close and, like, her eyes are just fully black. Like, it's not outright, like, spooky, but something about it just doesn't, like, sit right in your chest. And I love it for that. The fuck is happening here? I think this deck is just the perfect amount of creepy that I can still take it seriously. Like, sometimes when decks are, like, over the top creepy, I can't take them seriously. Like, I feel like they must be ironic somehow. So, and so my readings with them are always, I don't know, just, like, lessened by it or something. But this one is creepy without being silly about it. So, like, this one's kind of silly. I hate that it's the High Priestess. The High Priestess is normally, like, one of my favorite cards in a deck, but Look at the Four of Swords go. Or don't, because it won't focus on that. Love this death card. But yeah, I'm sure this will be back in print at some point soon. It's one of those things, there's a lot of stuff going on with the deck creator and stuff, that at some point, perhaps, it will end up being a $500 used deck sort of sale thing. At this point, it's not. The deck is beautiful, but, like, really just be patient, alright? Alright, my last deck is going to require me to admit that I have not started working with this yet. And this is, I mentioned in, I don't know, on another random video, I think it's called Hieronymus Bosch Tarot. So this is the rock pool thing. So I've done more research into this since the last time I mentioned it. I believe that there was, like, a mass market deck of this. Okay, this is also mass market. There was a mass market Hieronymus Bosch or whatever tarot deck, and I think it might have been by like Lo Scarabeo or some shit, and it was just like a regular tarot deck, you know, curated with this specific artist's work. This is this specific like iteration. Okay, that's not the right what I'm trying to say. This is also a deck using the same artist's artwork. However, it was independent and now it's been picked up by Rockpool. Super weird deck. In that it has, I think, 6 or 7 suits. All renamed majors. And in, well, okay, not the lovers, but for the most part. But then each of the suits only has the ace of it. And I think it's 6 different court cards. So like birds is one. There's a queen. There's like, there's a baron. There's a knight. There's also like sin cards. Each of the fucking whatever cardinal sins or some shit. Prince, king. Why can't I find some of the other ones here? I just think this deck is so cool. And I like the way that it has been sort of redone. I feel like that might be a thing that needs to happen more with these like curated art decks, because there's not always a way that you can just shove the artwork into the existing system of the tarot. Like it ends up being weird and awkward. So yeah. This deck, I still haven't worked with. Now, I've looked through the guidebook, which is actually surprisingly slim, considering it's, like, a totally different system. Where is it? What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. It's just sort of... I mean, it has that... talks a little bit about the suit. Each of the things in it, and that's it. Like, I don't know, it's very interesting. And I feel from what I've done, even just like the cursory sort of looking through it, reading the guidebook, I can't attest to like how well it works in readings yet, because I haven't really used it in that way yet. But I feel like this is going to be fucking cool. Anyway, yeah. I'm excited to work with this, and I realize that I say that, and I have said that, and yet I have not actually started working with it. Why won't this fucking look at this card? It just kind of feels like it's wanting the right time, and I feel like that time has finally come. So, yeah. Anyway, that was my October decks and books. And thanks for watching, bye.